I'm in mountain time, so the sun is just setting. I'm going to take you out on the balcony for a second and show you Santa Fe and New Mexico, which is really, really beautiful. I don't know how much you can see on the film camera, but also it's really cold out there.
It turns out rail spikes, for a good reason, are really popular to be used by bladesmiths because they're made of a very kind of high carbon steel. They're quite strong. And so my friend actually got me this that is made from a rail spike. This is, I think, a little more polished than the one that I imagine Ming-Su having. But it is actually from a real rail type, and you can see the hammerhead right over there.
Bash it out now, tart it up later.
I read a lot of comic books when I was younger. And actually, if we go like way back, that probably is the first things I remember reading were comic books.
I think some of my favorite stories have come from video games. Like Metal Gear Solid is like one of my favorite things in the universe.
I keep a track. I've done this before with other books. I keep a track of injuries and alterations. So in this case, I printed out this picture of a diver, and I keep marking it with all the things that have happened to him, so that I have an ongoing sense of his physical state, you know? I'm a great artist, as you can tell. Here's somebody else, I'm marking all their scars and tattoos, you know?
Let's see built-in bookshelves, my desk. So the view of West End Avenue, that is where I am.
On Etsy. I think if you look up like just sword earrings.
There's this temptation often to mythologize a bit with writing and to indulge in magical thinking. You know, I think that there's a public perception of the writer as this tortured visionary, you know, who sits, waiting for the ideas to arrive, you know, and you can do that a lot and achieve very little. I think for me, the more you treat it as just sort of very dull and boring work, like building a house, you know, the more effective you'll be. I kind of believe that inspiration comes when you're working, not when you're sitting there waiting to work.
This is it's a spirit chime. It's got a pentagram, and then these are nails that have other nails driven into them. And you're supposed to hang it outside. There's also like inscriptions and things. It is wild. And it's supposed to, if it sounds, and I don't know if you all can hear this, but if you hear it, it means spirits are trying to get into your house. And you're supposed to put this up for protection. I usually just have it outside of my office.
This one was a birthday present from a very good friend of mine, and it never got finished. It's a dragon holding on to a skull.
And here is my mouse guard, which I need to clean before I use it again.
So let's see if I can show them to you properly. These are the gates of horn and ivory. And they came about because I am a massive Sandman nerd.
I think of the genres like fields, you know, with fences around them. And you shouldn't just stand in your own field. You should step over the fence and go walking in other fields. And what happens is burrs collect on your pants legs, such that when you come back to your home field of science fiction or whatever it is, those burrs fall off, become seeds, and grow up into strange plants. You're introducing new DNA into your chosen genre and keeping your genre vital. And I think if you're into science fiction, you only read science fiction, you want to write science fiction, then you can end up being kind of insular and only talking to people who know science fiction. I think you should be talking to the world, you know? And the way to do that is to bring in that strange DNA.
I mean, I ran away at 13 to see The Cure. I remember it was like the first international show in Argentina, more or less. I think I told my parents I was sleep over somewhere. My parents are very, you know, didn't pay much attention.
Did you see that?
My son calls it a banana, but it is a big fangy killer whale tooth. So that is on my desk.
People who dislike you or who look down on you or who reduce you to your identity, whatever that means, they'll never like you. They're never going to accept you. Trying to prove them wrong and trying to gain their approval is a losing game. You are playing their game. Rather, I think what you should do is try to prove the people who love you and who support you right. There are people who believe in you. There are people who think you're awesome. There are people who say what you do is valuable. I get your story. I get the house you're building. The house you're building, that's the house I want to live in. Okay? Try to prove those people right. That's a much more helpful, useful thing to do.